to the Rockland Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a fire broke out last night at a mobile home park in Hamden. We'll bring you the very latest coming up.
Plus, a casino group is discussing partnership with Wabanaki Nations for online gambling.
And many folks gathered in Bangor over the weekend for the annual Pride Parade and Charlie Howard Vigil.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Monday morning. We'll have all the day's news coming up over the next hour. We have a guest joining us later on too.
We sure do. We're going to see some very interesting, fun jewelry pieces that are celebrating America's 250th anniversary. So I'm very excited.
Right, we'll talk to the lady that's making those.
Yes.
All right, but first a check of the forecast, and I think that'll be topping the news this week too. It looks like we're in for a little bit of a heat wave of our own.
We are.
Today will be sunny with temperatures in the upper 80s. Later on this week we'll have temperatures in the 90s, but it's going to feel like over 100, I hear.
Oh, wow.
So if you took this week off and you can spend some time at the beach, you picked a good week.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We have an extreme heat watch that's in effect for the southwestern parts of the state, and that will last until about Friday at around 8 p.m. as we watch for some extreme heat index values of at least 110 degrees that will be on the way until about that time frame. So that is why this has been issued. So some dangerous heat will be on the way coming up rather soon. As we do check things out, the radar and satellite looking rather quiet, just some clouds that have been passing through. It will be a very nice day with lots of sunshine that will be occurring. Let's zoom things out. High pressure is in dominant control with lots of sunshine that will be occurring. A pattern change will be taking place coming up soon, which will allow some showers and thunderstorms to develop. So lots of sunshine today, some clouds on the way later on tonight. It will be tomorrow, primarily in the eastern parts of the state, where showers and thunderstorms will be developing. So your hourly forecast taking place, lots of sunshine today with temperatures warming into the 80s, upper 80s actually. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, firefighters from several departments had their hands full with a bad fire last night in Hamden. They were called to a mobile home park on Main Road North where a trailer had burst into flames. This video was sent to us of the fire at Hamden Mobile Estates. The video was reportedly taken between 9 and 9:30 last night, and a woman who lives there tells us that she was in the process of cooking pork chops when that fire broke out. Fire crews from Hamden and neighboring towns worked quickly to make sure that everyone made it out safely and then began dumping water on the raging fire. There are no reported injuries, and we're told that family pets also made it out. There's also word that the Red Cross was called in to help the residents with their immediate needs. We'll have more information as that investigation continues today.
Authorities have recovered the body of a Lewiston teenager who slipped and fell into the Androscoggin River while fishing on Friday night. The Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife says 18-year-old Silo Arumva of Lewiston was fishing with friends near the Gulf Island Dam on the Androscoggin River on the Switzerland Road right around 7:30 Friday night. That's when he fell into the water after slipping on a rock while trying to untangle a fishing lure from a tree branch. The search for him began that night, and the department notified media on Saturday afternoon that his body was recovered by Warden Service divers from the Androscoggin River.
Meanwhile, a Waterville man was arrested on Saturday for allegedly kidnapping a 4-year-old. According to the Fairfield Police Department officer, Casey Dugas, police were dispatched to Main Street in Fairfield for a report of a missing 4-year-old. Officer Dugas says that information was then developed that led them to a residence in Waterville where they later found the child. Authorities then arrested 37-year-old Brandon Fair of Waterville, a man police say is not related to the child, but someone at that residence does know him. Fair was transported to the Somerset County Jail, where he's charged with kidnapping and criminal restraint, and his bail was set at $500,000 cash. Authorities anticipate more charges as that investigation continues. The child was transported to a local hospital out of precaution.
The Bangor Police Department says a suspicious package was found downtown near the route of Saturday's Pride Parade. The package found that morning was cleared by the bomb squad, and the incident was resolved a few hours after its discovery. Bangor police closed downtown intersections during the investigation. Now they're seeking information. Anyone with tips about how that package ended up being there can contact Detective Gorecki. You can find his email on our website at foxbangor.com.
Well, Maine rededicated a memorial to give families a place to remember loved ones. Allison LaPierre reports from the Maine Murder Victims Memorial Ceremony.
Remembering those whose lives were taken from them.
An honor to stand with you today as we remember and pay tribute to those whose lives were taken through the actions of another.
Today, families, friends, and supporters gathered at the Holy Family Cemetery in Augusta as names were added to the Maine Murder Victims Memorial Monument.
Today we gather to share how the Maine Murder Victims Memorial stands as a lasting tribute to those taken from us.
During the 13th annual rededication ceremony, surviving family members, friends, and supporters of victims laid down roses to honor the lives who were taken. The Maine chapter of Parents of Murdered Children hosts a ceremony on the last Sunday of June every year to rededicate the monument and serve as a lasting tribute to victims of homicide across the state.
Names that are being added, their families know that we're with them. We aren't going to forget their loved ones.
This year, 18 names were added to the memorial.
For some members of Parents of Murdered Children, this monument serves as like a grave site they can go and reflect and think about their loved ones.
Group leaders say this memorial gives families and loved ones a chance to remember those who they have lost, but also connect with others who are grieving.
That we don't want anyone else to join our group, but when they have to, we will accept them and we try to help guide them.
And that was Allison LaPierre reporting. In other news, online gambling in Maine could soon be beyond sports betting. It could go beyond that. A casino group is discussing a partnership with 3 Wabanaki nations, which will bring online casino gaming to Maine. Online gambling has been available in Maine since 2023 and creates millions of dollars in tax revenue. Caesars Entertainment says the partnership will grow that platform while investing in the state. The group is looking to start iGaming in the state. It's an online casino that can be accessed right from your telephone. The group says it will invest in the local workforce by training members of each Wabanaki nation and providing financial support to help fund tribal community programs. The platform is set to be launched in Maine by next year, and it would include table games like blackjack, poker, and more. It became legal in Maine this year, but the state is currently in the rulemaking process for how it will all work. Oxford Casino and Sportsbook have challenged the law in court, which only allows the tribes to offer online betting. They argue this law gives the tribes an unfair monopoly. A senior VP for Caesars says this is another platform Mainers can enjoy from anywhere.
People love to bet on sports and they love to do it on their phones. So now we're going to provide another product that they can wager on right in the palms of their hand.
Officials will discuss the rulemaking process and establish how iGaming will work next month.
Meanwhile, a scam going around Bangor is enticing people to attend fun events. The only catch is that they're not real. The Downtown Bangor Partnership is encouraging folks to be aware and cautious of where their money and personal information is going. Our Callie Warren has more.
So many scams, and it makes me very frustrated.
That frustration comes from fake events, causing growing concern in Bangor as scam artists look to cash in on people searching for something to do on the weekend.
We were disappointed to see this sort of very shiny looking website and events that are in the future. This company has a number of Better Business Bureau comments about people who have had really scammy experiences with them, where the organizations have not. The events just haven't happened.
A company called Luna Ticketing claims to be a third-party ticket seller to several events, including some in Bangor, that Bouchard says are both costly and completely false.
I mean, now there are all kinds of tells, right? Like misspellings and all AI photos and not a lot of comments on their Facebook pages, even though there are people who are interested in going.
Bouchard reached out to representatives for Luna Ticketing, but says she has not heard back. On the Better Business Bureau website, several report paying hundreds of dollars for experiences they never received.
I mean, these are all people who fell for these in other communities, and $138, $98, $184.
If you or someone you know fell victim to any scam, contact your local police department. Bouchard adds that if you have doubts about an event, reach out to that event's organizer.
Most of our local events are run by people in our communities, organizations in our communities, our very robust art scene.
For those looking to stay busy in Bangor, Bouchard says that there are plenty of real events by real people to enjoy.
Every weekend, every week, they are all real. Real actual events, real actual people.
In Bangor, Callie Morin, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Always have to be very cautious of all of
With
that.
everything
you
these
really
days.
do.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 8:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, communities statewide are still stepping up to help those impacted by the Robbins Lumber Mill fire. We'll take you to the Belmont Benefit Dinner.
But first, another look at that forecast. A real scorcher today. Mostly sunny skies with high temperatures up around 87 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight with lows dropping down to the upper 50s.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
That looks right.
And mostly cloudy tomorrow with some thunderstorms moving in. High temperatures around 87. We'll be right back.
Come home to the kitchen of your dreams. At Atlantic Designs, we redefine kitchen spaces, turning your dreams into reality. Our experienced designers ensure you get a stunning new kitchen while bringing function and style to every corner. Whether you're on a tight budget or ready to splurge, we've got the perfect plan for you. Your dream kitchen is closer than you think. So contact Atlantic Designs today and start the process. Your dream kitchen awaits with the kitchen people at Atlantic Designs.
I served 2 tours in the Middle East, 21 years in the Air Force.
I served in a field artillery unit.
The Maine National Guard. I respect Graham Plattner's service, but he doesn't respect ours.
Plattner falsely accused a military hero of war crimes.
He said a Purple Heart recipient didn't deserve to live after being shot, trying to save his own troops.
And Plattner blames his Nazi tattoo on military culture? That's insulting. Graham Plattner's a fraud. He's unfit to represent Maine.
Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Is your Maine issued license or ID expiring soon? Good news! You may be able to skip the trip to the BMV and renew it online, including if your license or state ID is Real ID compliant. Visit maine.gov/SOS/BMV today to find out if you're eligible to renew online. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State.
One of Central Maine's largest Pride festivals was held on Saturday in Bangor. Hundreds of people made their way to downtown Bangor for the annual Pride Parade and festivities. This year's festivities featured numerous entertainers, vendors, organizations, and community members. The parade route started on Main Street and wove its way through the Queen City until settling on the Bangor waterfront. The event has been celebrated in Bangor for over 3 decades. Organizers say this year's theme was Color Our World with Pride.
Well, community members also gathered in downtown Bangor yesterday to remember the life and death of Charlie Howard, a Bangor man who was killed in the 1980s for being openly gay. Our Grace Blanchard has that story.
It's a constant recognition that something impactful happened in this place.
It's been more than 4 decades since the death of Charlie Howard. But for some Bangor residents, it feels like yesterday.
It is just the memories, it's mixed emotions. There's the sadness, the anger, but also the love and the opportunity to love and be loved is who you are.
On July 7, 1984, Howard was walking down State Street with his partner when 3 teenagers attacked him. The 3 boys threw Howard over the State Street Bridge into the Canduskeg Stream. As a result, he drowned. Charlie Howard was 23 years old. His death is credited by many as launching the gay rights movement in Bangor.
The folks we consider in the Pride community today have been resilient throughout history.
Just recently, a Pride mural near the Charlie Howard Memorial was defaced, repainted, and then vandalized again, leading one local to take her anger and turn it into Pride t-shirts.
My thought was, so what can I do that just says that is not the way that everybody is? And so I made some art.
Groups like Bangor Pride continue to organize a vigil near his memorial to remember Charlie and the lasting impact of his death.
The more we can unify all of these voices together to remember history and remember where we've come from and how far we still have to go, the better.
For Jim Beckett and his husband, the first gay men to be married in the Queen City in 2012 after it was legalized, the vigil sparked mixed emotions.
But more than once, I could have ended up like Charlie Howard, and for equally silly, inane reasons.
I really hope that people take away that we're all human, we're all here for one another in this limited time on this planet, so we should all just love and care for each other.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
It has now been more than a month since the fire and explosion at the Robbins Lumber Mill in Searsmont, and many people are still recovering. Communities statewide continue to step up to support those who were impacted by the tragedy. On Sunday, the town of Belmont held a benefit dinner and silent auction to benefit Belmont firefighter Lieutenant Catherine Page and Searsmont Assistant Fire Chief Wayne Woodbury. Woodbury died on June 14th from injuries he sustained while battling the Searsmont fire. A funeral service was held for him in Belfast last week. Firefighter Page sustained severe burns from the explosion and has been receiving treatment at Maine Medical Center in Portland since the fire on May 15th. According to Belmont Fire Chief Ron Harford, Woodbury was a longtime resident of Belmont and also donated the land that the fire station now sits on.
He was the chief here in Belmont for a couple of years, a long time ago. Kind of got down and moved on to Searsmont, and he was been around a long time. I mean, 60 years between Belmont and Searsmont Fire Department. So it was very right that we do it for both of them.
The silent auction featured more than 100 items. The money raised from the event will all go toward firefighter Page's medical expenses and to the estate of Wayne Woodbury. According to Chief Hartford, they are hopeful to see firefighter Page return home from the hospital sometime within the next couple of weeks.
Well, 2 Maine high schoolers were officially crowned world champion fishermen over the weekend. Nolan Savage from Bangor High School and Jack Naz from Waterville finished in first place in the 17th annual High School Fishing World Finals. Their 3-fish limit scaled in at 12 to 10, and the competition was held at Lake Cumberland in Russell Springs, Kentucky. That's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations to them.
They look so happy.
Don't they know?
Well, the time now is 8:18. After the break, it was a weekend of attacks between the U.S. and Iran. We'll tell you about the most recent agreement coming up.
Plus, the country is experiencing extreme weather from fires to floods. We'll explain as Good Morning Maine continues.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the C&R promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with C&R Carpet Cleaning.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Biggest political scandal in Maine? Susan Collins and her lobbyist husband. Collins sought a committee to influence government contracts, then oversaw more than $76 million in taxpayer dollars going to his company. She watered down and voted against the anti-corruption efforts that would have stopped it. She voted for new forever wars that gave billions to companies they invested in. They made millions. They get rich, Maine pays the price. To invest at home, ban billionaires from buying elections. Stop the corruption. Vote Plattner.
I'm Grant Plattner, and I approve this message.
Welcome to the game show that nobody wants to win. Spell guarantee. G-A. Oh, it's G-U.
This is harder than I thought.
What did the itsy bitsy spider climb up? We will push them to their limits academically. What kind of doctor specializes in feet?
Pediatrician.
Now to the nation's weather extremes and their cost in lives lost. There are dozens of major wildfires burning across the American West in hot, dry conditions. One of those fires claiming the lives of 3 firefighters.
Meanwhile, others did not survive flash flooding in Kentucky, where search efforts in flooded areas continues this morning. Here's ABC's Lionel Moyes.
This morning, weather extremes turning deadly. At the Utah-Colorado border, 3 firefighters have been killed, trapped by the fire they were battling.
It's the ultimate sacrifice, and we never like to hear when that happens. We take a step back and we reassess how we're doing things.
Widespread drought conditions and gusty winds fueling multiple fires in the region, triggering a state of emergency and a second round of evacuations in some areas. One rancher near Eureka, Utah, describing the scene as apocalyptic. A far different emergency in Kentucky, flash flooding blamed for at least 4 deaths.
We have been hit really hard, wiping out roads and bridges, and sadly, even taking a handful of lives.
I guess it's like kind of scary. Our backyard, it has a lot of water.
With rescues and evacuations in the downpour. This video showing the moment water breaks through a fence, firefighters pulling a driver to safety in this video posted to social media, and this car floating away in the strong current. A different extreme for parts of the Rockies leading up to the 4th of July. The Georgetown Lake region of Montana bracing for up to 3 feet of snow. But far more Americans are bracing for a dangerous heat wave this holiday week. Heat alerts issued for more than 100 million Americans from Kansas to Massachusetts. Triple-digit temps are expected from the Midwest into the Northeast. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
Well, as he said, temperatures will soar here in the Maine area as well. It's going to get in the upper 80s today, later this week up into the 90s. I'm told it's going to feel like it's going to be in the hundreds. But, you know, I'll probably complain about the heat just like anybody else. But
it'll feel nice, too.
Keep in mind, somebody else in the country is getting 3 feet of snow right now.
That's true.
So
that's not fun.
That's just nuts.
Now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Here's another look at that extreme heat watch that's in effect until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Friday. We're concerned with the heat index values that will be reaching at around 110 degrees at times, so dangerous heat in effect. So definitely make sure your air conditioners are working or have plans in effect to deal with the extreme heat that will be on the way coming up. In the meantime, ocean temperatures in the lower 60s, while other places in the 50s and 60s further out towards sea. So the ocean may be a reprieve, but definitely be careful. This will be a drastic difference, so we definitely want to be careful with that if you're heading to the ocean to be cooling off rather soon. But meanwhile, on land, it is very quiet out there. here this morning. Not much cloud cover. That is really cleared out in a hurry with high pressure that's in dominant control, but it's not going to stay that way. The high pressure will be breaking down rather soon. We'll have some activity moving in that will allow some showers and some thunderstorms to develop. So lots of sunshine today. We'll have some clouds approaching later on tonight. As we head towards tomorrow, we'll have some sunshine. Notice some clouds and a few thunderstorms in the eastern parts of the state. This is approaching from northwest to southeast. Some more thunderstorms continuing as we head towards, again, Tuesday night and the Wednesday morning. So again, we are going to be seeing things getting humid coming up, especially as we head towards late Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday. So summer arriving in a big hurry with higher dew points on the way, and of course higher temperatures too in the 80s and 90s for the next several days. So be ready for the heat and humidity. So for today, we have upper 80s, mostly sunny, and that north breeze at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight, we have upper 50s, partly cloudy, and that southwest wind at about 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, the pattern changes a bit. Upper 80s, mostly cloudy, a few thunderstorms expected, especially in the eastern parts of the state, and that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. Wednesday, some more showers and thunderstorms with highs in the mid 80s. And then check out Thursday, partly cloudy, highs in the mid 90s. And then Friday, more showers and thunderstorms, highs in the upper 80s.
You know, we can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
Maine's farms are being sold to China. Chinese criminal networks are infiltrating rural Maine, but Senator Susan Collins is fighting back. Susan Collins voted to stop China from buying up our farmland, and Collins is helping to crack down on Chinese organized crime. Collins delivered millions in more resources for local law enforcement, protecting our families, our farms, and bringing big money back home to Maine. Call and tell Senator Susan Collins to keep protecting rural Maine.
Purpose-built, adventure-ready, freedom to go further. At Polaris, we have a history of making history. 40 years, and still redefining what's possible. This is the Sportsman 570 40th Anniversary Edition. Sportsman, legendary tough.
It was a weekend of renewed attacks between the U.S. and Iran after a deal was signed just 10 days ago. Overnight, the two countries have agreed to stop strikes and allow ships to move freely through the Strait of Hormuz. ABC's Karen Waugh is in Washington with the details.
The U.S. and Iran have agreed to stop attacking each other in the Strait of Hormuz and to allow ships to move through freely. This after a weekend of renewed strikes by the U.S. on Iran. According to Central Command, the U.S. first struck Iran in direct response to continued Iranian aggression against commercial shipping. President Trump warned, there may come a point when we are no longer able to be reasonable and will be forced to militarily complete the job that we very successfully started. Hours later, Iran retaliated by targeting U.S. military sites in Kuwait and Bahrain. Iranian officials warn American bases in the region will be experiencing hell during these days. The Iranian military released a picture that appears to show a message on one of the missiles launched. Quote, "The only success of Trump is the increased income of American coffin makers and wheelchair manufacturers for his soldiers in this defeated war."
The president's patience isn't going to last forever, but they need to understand their leverage is diminishing by the day.
The memorandum of understanding signed less than 2 weeks ago says Iran would reopen the Strait of Hormuz free for anyone to pass through. But now Iran is apparently reversing itself. Its foreign minister claims Iran alone controls the strait, clashing with the international community's position that the strait is under no country's control. As for what's next, a U.S. official tells ABC News that technical talks about details of the deal are going ahead as planned this week, but it's unclear how long it will take to smooth things over again. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
We'll hope in finding more people alive after the earthquake devastation in Venezuela is fading by the hour. More than 1,400 people have been killed and the death toll is climbing. But families are still hoping for more miraculous rescues. Here's ABC's Rena Roy.
This morning, time is running out for any survivors buried underneath rubble in Venezuela. 140 search dogs from 21 countries working night and day to find those trapped. New video shows a mother and her 18-day-old newborn pulled from underneath what remained of their apartment building in La Guaira after being trapped for 32 hours, both now in stable condition. The State Department posting this video of American crews helping to pull another mother and her 9-month-old baby to safety, both somehow suffering only minor injuries. And yesterday, 4 days after those pair of powerful earthquakes struck, a father and son pulled from the rubble alive. But the death toll is rising, with nearly 1,500 people now confirmed dead and hundreds of aftershocks jolting the region. An estimated 58,000 buildings were damaged or destroyed, older buildings and substandard construction leaving this region especially vulnerable. Rescue workers from dozens of countries have been deployed to help. Authorities are now limiting access to the hardest hit areas, saying crowds of volunteers are in some cases getting in the way of the skilled rescue teams trying to reach those still trapped. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll meet a jewelry maker who's making custom pieces for America's 250th birthday.
I just saw a couple. They're really pretty, too.
They're very pretty.
We'll hear all about it coming up.
As a doctor in rural Maine, we're already seeing the impact. Susan Collins voted to support Donald Trump on the largest Medicaid cut in history. Healthcare is getting even more expensive. People are losing coverage. Our hospitals are closing, and the worst is yet to come. But Susan Collins gave Trump a blank check for his war in Iran. Billions of dollars that we could use here in Maine. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop siding with Donald Trump. We can't afford it.
Need a driveway paved or an entire road surfaced? Give Eaton Paving and Excavation a call. Eaton Paving offers a full line of excavation packages, from new home projects to new and replacement septics and driveways. We also install new shoreland and do shoreland repairs. Our operators have more than 75 years combined experience, and we have been delivering quality, professional service for nearly 3 decades. We strive to exceed your expectations. Give us a call today at 207-348-5630 or visit us at EatonPaving.com.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Monday, June 29th, 2026. This is also International Fisherman Day.
This special day casts appreciation on fishermen all around the globe. It recognized their essential role in providing food and support for our economies. This is a good day to learn about the challenges facing fishermen and show all of your support.
It is not an easy job, and
No,
I don't know
it is
what
not.
Maine would be without its fishermen out there, too.
A lot of respect to all of them.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to history now. It was on this day back in 1767, the British Parliament approved the Townshend Revenue Acts, which imposed new import duties on everything from glass to tea, which was being shipped to America. And people here in America at the time, they didn't like any taxes, certainly not from Great Britain, a move that helped spark the revolt that led to the American Revolution. That's when things were really starting to bubble up.
Oh, yeah.
In 1613, London's original Globe Theatre was destroyed by a fire, which was sparked when a cannon was fired during a performance of Henry VIII. The theater was where many of Shakespeare's plays were performed. No one was hurt except a man whose burning britches were put out with a bottle of ale. Quick, my butt's on fire. Give me some beer. Yeah. And in 1860, the first iron pile lighthouse was completed at Minot's Ledge in Massachusetts.
And in 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty could constitute cruel and unusual punishment, a ruling that prompted the states to revise their capital punishment laws. In 1995, the Space Shuttle Discovery docked with the Russian space station Mir. Together, they formed the largest artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. The historic moment of cooperation between former rival space programs marked the beginning of a new era of friendship and cooperation between the U.S. and Russia. And lastly, in 2007, the first version of the iPhone went to sale to the public, and more than 2.3 billion iPhones have been sold to date.
Boy, it seems like iPhones have been around forever, but you know, just 2007, really not that long ago.
Not that long ago. They had like the iPod and all of that stuff first, and then I guess the iPhone came out after.
Wonder where we'll be in another 15 or 20 years. What will you be using? All right, time for birthdays. Today's birthdays include actress Camila Mendez. She is 32 today. Comedian Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live is 44, and actor Gary Busey turns 82 years old today, and he's crazier than ever, Janessa.
Well, that photo that you picked, yeah, I can see that.
That's pretty much most of the photos he does these days.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a little older photo than his most current ones.
Gotcha.
So I was being kind and used this, but
very interesting.
Yeah, I've been a Gary Busey fan. I like some of his earlier work, but he has gotten kind of a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah. Well,
but that makes it interesting too.
It sure does.
We do wish him a happy birthday, and to you too also.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
I'm not trying to bash Gary. Yeah.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We have an extreme heat watch that's in effect for the southwestern parts of the state, and that will last until about Friday at around 8 p.m. as we watch for some extreme heat index values of at least 110 degrees that will be on the way until about that time frame. So that is why this has been issued. So some dangerous heat will be on the way coming up rather soon. As we do check things out, the radar and satellite looking rather quiet, just some clouds that have been passing through. It will be a very nice day with lots of sunshine that will be occurring. Let's zoom things out. High pressure is in dominant control with lots of sunshine that will be occurring. A pattern change will be taking place coming up soon, which will allow some showers and thunderstorms to develop. So lots of sunshine today, some clouds on the way later on tonight. It will be tomorrow, primarily in the eastern parts of the state, where showers and thunderstorms will be developing. So your hourly forecast taking place, lots of sunshine today with temperatures warming into the 80s, upper 80s actually. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Still to come here this morning, Max Stern with sports.
And we'll also hear about some very special jewelry as well.
Yes.
Don't go away.
Craving something delicious? Welcome to High Street Market, located at 167 Enfield Road in Lincoln. Breakfast options? Grab a cup of coffee and try one of our sandwiches or burritos. When breakfast is over, we're just getting started. Pizza, subs, burgers, and pastries. Come get lost in Danny's Beer Cave. Order online and save 10% off your first order. High Street Market, where your taste buds go to party.
Warning, entering keepsakes may cause extreme creativity. From gorgeous fabrics and cozy yarn to gifts you didn't know you needed, we've got it all. Dive into quilting, grab a sewing machine, or join a class and unleash your inner artist. Stick around for our mystery quilt projects if you love a good surprise. And yes, we have a fudge counter, because crafting burns calories, right? Keepsakes, where your hobbies and your sweet tooth live happily ever after.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Maine's rural hospitals are struggling, but Senator Susan Collins came to the rescue, delivering critical federal funding for upgraded facilities and life-saving diagnostic equipment. Susan Collins does her job, and our hospitals benefited. Call and thank her for delivering for Maine.
I'm Deborah Norville, and this is The Perfect Line. Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
4 international territories compete for the title of Global Master Chef.
My 3 daughters are watching.
Tell them I say hi. Master Chef returns July 15th after the World Cup on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. I'm Max Sturm in studio with PVHS multi-sport star Riley Moulton. Riley, thank you for coming in today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
So first of all, before we get into the sports and all that, you're officially graduated. How's that been? Is it a crazy feeling to know that you're done with high school at this point?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, I don't think about it all the time, but like I'll just be going through my day and I'm like, wow, like I'm not going back to school in the fall with the people I've been growing up with the past 12 years. So it's definitely a bit of a different feeling to experience, but it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah, your life's changing, but there's also excitement ahead for you, and we'll get to that later. But there's a lot to cover from you from your senior year as well as the rest of your career at PVHS. And I wanted to start with softball because it's the most recent. You guys go out, you make a state championship run. You had played in your 8th grade year, in your freshman year. You took a couple years off, but you decided to come back for your senior year. What was the motive behind that? Why did you go back?
Honestly, I'd been getting asked to play for the past 2 years, and this year I was like, why not? Like, I'd enjoyed having some last few good moments with a lot of my teammates and the girls I've grown up with, so I was like, what's playing one more year? So, and they were more than willing to accept me back, so I'm super grateful for that.
Did the fact that you had multiple teammates from other sports play into that too? Like, I can get one more season with them.
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, just like the memories you make from sports in general, that's what makes it so much more like enjoyable. So, I mean that's really the real reason I played, was to get some last few moments in with some of these girls.
Now let's talk about your athletic career. You were a 3-sport athlete: soccer, basketball, and softball. You played in 18 total championship games, regional titles, state championships. You won 2 state titles this year, though. Soccer won their 3rd straight. You guys came back with another title for basketball in Class D this year. I remember when I played lacrosse my senior year, winning the regional title was one of the highlight moments for me of my high school career. Did having so much success in your last year just make this year so much more special for you to kind of go out on top in a couple of sports?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it did. Like, obviously, with it being my senior year, I was going to have a lot of lasts anyways, but I think it definitely helped that my lasts for soccer and basketball were wins. It made it a little less easier to handle and deal with, like, wow, like, I'm never going to be playing soccer, playing basketball, or softball in a Lady Howler uniform ever again.
Now, when you guys in basketball were transitioned from Class C to Class D, a lot of people would say, you drop down a level, maybe the competition's a little bit easier. A lot of people saw you guys as underdogs, and yet you still go out and you win that state championship. What was that moment like for you guys to win that basketball state title in your final year, given that some people considered you guys to be underdogs?
Honestly, I think being considered underdogs was the greatest thing for us, especially after going 18-0 the year before, because it just gave us a reason to work a lot harder and gave us something to like motivate us. And so ending it with a win when people said that we wouldn't and people were counting us out, I think for the whole team, it just made things a whole lot sweeter in the end.
And through basketball and softball and soccer, you've had a lot of the same teammates. What have those relationships that you've formed with them meant to you, not only on the field, but also off the field? You said you grew up with most of them.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like, I don't know, like you can't really replicate like the bond that you have with a teammate, because you're seeing, especially like when it's multi-sports, you're seeing these girls all day at school, and then you're going to practice after school for 2 hours, you're doing bus rides with them, you're playing in games with them, and so just the amount of time and like the version of your teammates that you see, because you're seeing stuff that they don't show to everybody else because of how much time you're spending with them. So it's just, I think it makes for a much more genuine connection when you're spending that much time with some of these girls.
And those relationships will last you a lifetime too. Those ones just continue to go on. I'm still in contact with most of my teammates from high school too. Your time at PVHS is over and you've had so much success, but when you look back at your time there, is there a moment or a memory with your team or your teammates, whether it's winning championships or just something that happened day to day, that you look back on, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna hold on to that memory for the rest of my life?
I mean, honestly, I can think of 2 off the top of my head, one for soccer and one for basketball. The soccer one would be our regional championship my sophomore year versus Wisdom, playing at Herman. We were down 1-0 going into halftime of that game, and it was pouring. We were all soaked, and we had every reason to be down. I mean, the weather was even down for us. But all of a sudden, YMCA started playing on the speaker system, and we all just got up and started dancing. And at just that moment, and like it felt like there wasn't any pressure, and it felt like none of us were worried. We were just there with each other, enjoying the game, and knowing that we still had a whole half left to play. And the fact that we ended up winning in the last 5 minutes, I mean, that was just such a surreal experience.
And it seems like those kinds of moments can lead to success too. When you kind of take your head out of what's currently happening on the field and kind of looking forward, you take a little mental break. That stuff can really help you. So you're graduated, you're done with PVHS. What viewers want to know, what's next for Riley Moulton? Where are you going for school? Are you playing sports?
I'm going to the University of Maine at Augusta to study business administration, and I will be on the basketball team next year. So
that's awesome. Well, we wish you good luck with that. And folks, thank you for watching. This is Riley Moulton. I'm Max Sturm. We'll be right back after the break.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
30 years living the Washington, D.C. lifestyle changes people. Getting rich from insider trading should be illegal. But Susan Collins doesn't think so. Susan Collins is trying to keep it so senators can get rich playing the stock market. They're making millions of dollars, while we can't even afford groceries and gas. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop the congressional stock trading.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, today we are joined by Linda Camp with Unbroken Spirit Designs. And as you can see in front of us right here, we have a beautiful display with some very beautiful handmade jewelry. Linda, thank you so much for coming in. So you have a few different lines going on.
I do.
One specifically for the upcoming 250th anniversary of the country. Can you kind of explain to us how that thought process worked and how you put some of those pieces together?
I just felt that it was important to have that as a celebration.
Sure.
So I decided to start making earrings and different bracelet styles.
Yep.
And just vary the color schemes.
Yeah.
And it just snowballed, really.
Yeah, and you have so many different designs here today. We'll flip this around so everyone can see all of the designs. But how did you kind of start getting into doing this? Was this kind of a recent venture? Have you been doing this for a long time?
No.
Okay.
In January, my sister said to me, "You need to make yourself a bracelet."
Okay.
And I was a little bit confused about that.
Yeah.
And I said, "What do I need?" And she said, "Go buy some beads."
Right.
So I went and bought some beads, and I found it to be a very soothing thing for me. And when I say it snowballed, everything snowballed.
Right, yeah. So now you have not only earrings, you have bracelets, necklaces. But the one thing that you told me as well is that if someone comes up to your booth and say they like an earring design, maybe they want it on an anklet instead, you can do that.
Absolutely.
You're very versatile.
Absolutely.
And you can also change the size of things as well.
Correct.
And you have a kids line.
I do.
Okay.
I have many different lines.
You do. It seems like it. So say a kid came up and wanted one of the bigger bracelets or something, but it's too big for their wrist. You have an alternative for basically everyone.
Yes, I do.
Well, that's awesome.
I can lengthen, shorten, I can separate.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, Linda. Thank you. And for you guys as well, you're many different places throughout the summer. And you have a line at a shop as well. Can you tell me about that?
I have some items at Crystal Boutique down in Benton.
Okay.
And I occasionally do a pop-up event there.
Oh, nice. That's fun.
On specific Saturdays
Yeah.
that she's got that event set up for. I'm also at Howling Goat Farm.
Right.
In Palmyra, right on Route 2, the first Saturday of every month until October.
Oh, so that's happening this 4th of July.
Yes, this Saturday.
Well, that'd be a great opportunity for some people to go over and maybe get your line.
I'm very excited
about that.
about
Let me flip
that
this
show.
real quick so Kyle can get some shots of this side as well. Because you have so many beautiful things here. I mean, all the different colors and shapes going on. I think people could really find anything for themselves or for their loved ones.
Age.
And it'd be a great gift as well.
I have had people purchase things as gifts.
Sure.
I've shipped to out of state.
Oh, wow.
As graduation presents for this
Yeah.
past graduation season.
Oh, well, that's awesome. And I think, too, we were talking about it, Mainers are really good about supporting local, I feel. And so with this, it's really to make people happy. And if anyone could go support Linda and her business, that would be amazing.
And the other vendors, because there are incredible vendors out there.
Yes, yeah, and they're very talented people.
They are.
Real quick before we have to go, what is your email address again for the people?
unbrokenspiritdesigns@gmail.com.
Okay, and you can also find her at Unbroken Spirit Designs on Facebook, and this interview will be posted on our website at foxbangor.com. Linda, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Here's another look at that extreme heat watch that's in effect until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Friday. We're concerned with the heat index values that will be reaching at around 110 degrees at times, so dangerous heat in effect. So definitely definitely make sure your air conditioners are working or have plans in effect to deal with the extreme heat that will be on the way coming up. In the meantime, ocean temperatures in the lower 60s, while other places in the 50s and 60s further out towards sea. So the ocean may be a reprieve, but definitely be careful. This will be a drastic difference, so we definitely want to be careful with that if you're heading to the ocean to be cooling off rather soon. But meanwhile, on land, it is very quiet out there this morning. Not much cloud cover. That is really cleared out in a hurry with high pressure that's in dominant control, but it's not going to stay that way. The high pressure will be breaking down rather soon. We'll have some activity moving in that will allow some showers and some thunderstorms to develop. So lots of sunshine today. We'll have some clouds approaching later on tonight. As we head towards tomorrow, we'll have some sunshine. Notice some clouds and a few thunderstorms in the eastern parts of the state. This is approaching from northwest to southeast. Some more thunderstorms continuing as we head towards, again, Tuesday night and the Wednesday morning. So again, we are going to be seeing things getting humid coming up, especially as we head towards late Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday. So summer arriving in a big hurry with higher dew points on the way, and of course higher temperatures too in the 80s and 90s for the next several days. So be ready for the heat and humidity. So for today, we have upper 80s, mostly sunny, and that north breeze at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight, we have upper 50s, partly cloudy, and that southwest wind at about 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, the pattern changes a bit. Upper 80s, mostly cloudy, a few thunderstorms expected, especially in the eastern parts of the state, and that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. Wednesday, some more showers and thunderstorms with highs in the mid 80s. And then check out Thursday, partly cloudy, highs in the mid 90s. And then Friday, more showers and thunderstorms, highs in the upper 80s.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Being raped is one of the worst fears that women have. So we take precautions to avoid dangerous situations. Graham Plattner blamed women for getting raped because he said we get effed up drunk. Mr. Plattner blamed the rapists, not the women. And now we learn Plattner used an app that's called a predator's paradise for child exploitation. Graham Plattner is disgusting, gross, and unfit for the Senate. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah, hand me a trash panda. That was gangster. It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Well, residents in Old Town will be getting a surprise in about 50 years. On Saturday afternoon, members of the Old Town Museum buried a time capsule beside the flagpole on its property in celebration of 50 years of being an organization. According to museum member Monique Bouchard, it contains pennies, a cell phone, a flyer from Hannaford's to see what the grocery prices were, a copy of Old Town Magazine, the Community Connector, information about the museum, matchbooks, and a USB stick full of documents about their 50th anniversary. She says the ceremony wasn't intentionally meant to also commemorate America's 250th, but it was a nice tie-in regardless. The time capsule will be opened 50 years from now.
Very
That's
neat.
so cool.
Yeah, I love time capsules.
Me too.
Well, yesterday marked the celebration of a well-known lumberjack. June 28th is National Paul Bunyan Day. Described as a giant lumberjack of unusual skill, Paul Bunyan is one of the most famous North American folklore heroes. The lumberjack has become a staple of American culture and a symbol of the nation's logging history. While several states claim to be the birthplace of Paul Bunyan, according to a record of birth that is displayed at Bangor City Hall, Paul was born here in the Queen City, February 12, 1834. The 31-foot-tall statue of Paul Bunyan on Main Street remains one of Bangor's biggest attractions.
I always
as well.
see people out there taking photos of him.
It's a must-stop.
Yes, it is. Well, the Seattle Aquarium is embracing World Cup pride by bringing it to their guests and sea animals. The aquarium hosted an interactive Ocean Cup bracket where fans could vote for their favorite animals to build a marine soccer team. They also added special World Cup themed treats to the otter exhibit. Guests could see the otters play with different soccer ice treats and other enrichment toys.
They look like they're having fun.
They sure do. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but as always, we thank you for joining us.
Hey, the boss brought free donuts.
Oh.
So thanks, Mike.
Nice.
Now we can go eat some donuts.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks for being there, folks. Have a great day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, you might recognize him as Brad from the sitcom Quintuplets. I mean, it's pretty unlikely, but I guess anything's possible. It's Billy Gardell. And joining Billy are middle school pals Josh and Chauncey. Her acting career proves persistence beats talent roughly once every 50 auditions.